Welcome to episode 50. Yes, episode 50, we made it here, of the Cycling Europe podcast. And I'm not at home, I've escaped on the bike, and I've come to the west coast of England. And over the next 3 days, I'm going to be cycling the Way of the Roses, albeit the bit as far as York. So basically, from Lancaster to York. And it's 7 o'clock. On Saturday morning, caught the train over yesterday, stayed overnight at a place called Red Bank Farm Campsite, which is in a beautiful spot overlooking Morecambe Bay, and this is where I'm about to set off from. The plan is to return to Morecambe, just a few kilometres down the coast. That's the official start of the Way of the Roses, and then head east very, very quickly. I think within a few hours, if that, I'll be out of Lancashire and back in Yorkshire. And then hopefully tonight, I've booked in at a campsite, Horton in Ribblesdale. And then the third night, I'm going to be in or near Ripon, which leaves me on Monday the cycle down to York. And then I'm going to take the bike in for a service before I head over to the continent in July. I've been up since 5 o'clock. And I have to say, if you ever needed an advert for being a morning person, then standing here and just gazing at the view, taking a few photos, videos, on a day like today, not quite cloudless sky, but there's very little wind, certainly compared to last night when it was very windy, very, very still, blue sky everywhere. Nearly. The view to the lakes to the north is amazing. I'm not heading in that direction, however. I'm heading east in the direction of the Yorkshire Dales. There's something really nice about leaving a campsite before everybody else gets up. I'm just cycling down the road and I can see the campsite on my right where I stayed last night. There are people just beginning to emerge. I got up at 5 o'clock. Who cares about the time when you're on a bike and in a tent? You can basically just live with the timing of the sun, which is really nice. And it's so peaceful, so relaxing. I'm just passing the mainline West Coast railway track, so after having said just that, no doubt a train is about to come past and break the silence or the peace, but it hasn't done yet. And over the railway bridge, oh, a nice little hill down, which is good. The bike, my Koga World Traveller, which carries the name Wander, yesterday, having not really ridden it much over the winter, I've not been using it for commuting, I bought another bike. I have to say it was just beautiful to ride yesterday, so smooth. I'm almost scared to say this, but it currently is rattle, creak, tick, knock free. Let's hope it's still not doing any of those things by the time I arrive in Tadcaster, where I deposit it at Cycle Sense, the bike shop where I bought it from, for its annual service. Just left Bolton Le Sands and I'm now on the long promenade that stretches all the way into the centre of Morecambe and beyond, in fact. Morning.
Morning.
Another cyclist out. And it looks like there's another one here with his panniers and his van. Morning. I wonder where the word or the name Bolton Les Sands comes from. It sounds a bit, to me it sounds as though somebody with a CSE in French has decided to make Bolton Sands sound a bit more sexy, so they stuck the L in the middle. I'm sure it has some Anglo-Saxon origin. It's the kind of question that Rob Ainsley would be able to give an answer to using the previous podcast, number 49. Oh, what a view. I can see Morecambe now in the near distance. It's not very far away, perhaps another couple of kilometres. And the starting point for the route, well, I found it yesterday. It's near the Midland Hotel? The Art Deco hotel that's been renovated in the centre of town. I did come here probably back in the 70s or 80s, but I have to say I can't remember anything really about being here. Any memories that I've got are probably of photographs rather than actual memories made at the time. What is it you're fishing for?
Smallhounds, might be a bass about, thornback rays.
Right. It was windy yesterday. I was in a tent just up there. It was very windy. In fact, I was here as well. When I came off the train.
All right. Yeah, that's why we've waited till this morning to come over.
Right.
Have you done it already this year?
You from the northeast?
Yeah, Teesside, Middlesbrough.
So, why is it you come down here to do your fishing?
At the moment, the wind's easterly, so it's blowing straight on our course.
Right.
But there's another couple of factors and all. I don't know whether you've seen it on the news about all the dead crabs washing up, being poisoned. So there's not much doing.
How are they getting poisoned?
They've been dredging the River Tees,
Right.
but they've denied it DEFRA, but they found traces of pyridine in the crab, and there's been tons of them, and I mean like 3 foot deep on the beach, washed up crabs, lobsters, everything. Obviously it's knackered the food chain for the fish. So,
That sounds not good.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But it's quiet this time of year for us, where we normally go fishing anyway. So it's just like bass. Winter it's mainly cod and white and stuff like that. So summer months we get out and about. Go to Sillis a lot. We were over here last week and a few weeks before. So we had some smooth hours last week.
Well, you picked a beautiful spot.
It's nice. The only problem we've got is
1, 2,
there's a seal there in the water.
I've made it to the official start point of the Way of the Roses, which is right on the shorefront here in Morecambe, just next to the Art Deco Midland Hotel. The sign says Way of the Roses, Lancaster 3.5 miles, Bridlington 170 miles. Now, I'm not going 170 miles, I'm only going as far as York. So I reckon about 120 miles perhaps. It's about 2/3 of the way there, I think. So yeah, about 120 miles, and then the extra bit from York down to Tadcaster, and hopefully that'll be on Monday. Now the route itself just heads directly east from here, inland, so I'm leaving the shore, and don't think I see the shore again. Go straight past the Aldi, down the road to a roundabout and through a restaurant car park, according to the guidebook that I'm using, the Cicerone guide, and then along a disused railway track, and hopefully that should be, well, it will be traffic free as far as Lancaster at least. Now I'm on the Greenway, the disused railway track that comes from the centre of Morecambe and I think goes as far as Lancaster, and if this is a sign of things to come, then I'm in for a treat. This is fantastic. Reminds me of cycling in the west coast of France, down on the Vélo d'Issée. A lot of that was disused railway tracks, nice and flat, very well signposted as well. I mean, okay, I've only been going 10 minutes, but yeah, pretty well signposted so far. Morning.
How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Long journey today?
Horton in Ribblesdale. Thank you. Friendly cyclist there on his Brompton. Don't think he's going to Horton in Ribblesdale.
The sun does go down. It sets in the west, doesn't it?
Yes,
sun
yes.
sets over there.
So that's the west.
Yeah.
So it's
So it's kind of north, I guess. But yeah, York is
I'm heading in that direction.
going in that. Right. Oh, you're heading to York, are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, York's Yorkshire, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yorkshire's. You look at the country. We're Lancashire. Yorkshire's to the east. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you come from Bolton, then you're going sort of back on yourself, are you?
Yeah, I'm just following the Way of the Roses, the cycle route.
Oh, is there? Right.
So,
oh, you're going to go hilly way, sort of like.
Yeah, through the Dales and then cut across to Ripon and then down to York.
Lovely.
So hopefully it'll stay like this, but I think it's going to not be as nice tomorrow or Monday.
How many days are you doing it in?
4 days.
And you staying in different places, are you, overnight?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I did that. I cycled from London to here.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
A few
you don't
years
have a local
ago now.
accent.
Yeah, well, my brother has done it as well, but I'm no big cycler. I haven't cycled for years since I got him, but yeah, I did about 40, 50 miles a day and then just booked a hotel that night. I just did it on an absolute whim. I had 3 weeks between jobs. I thought, what the hell am I going to do? It's January. It's freezing though. But what an adventure. It's a real adventure, isn't it? Getting on your bike and just going somewhere.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
Love it, yeah. So yeah, just walk all the way around. It's all easy access, walk all the way around and you can sort of see all the rooftops.
Okay.
I suppose the highest point would be if you were in the castle upper tower, but then you'd have to pay for that.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's probably not going to be open for a while yet. So.
I mean, the best view of all of the town is from the memorial at the top there.
Oh, right.
That's Williamson Park.
Oh, right.
I just had the highest point festival there, and it's a beautiful, stunning park. About 20-minute walk, and then you'll see all of the town. You look down on Lancaster, and you look down on the lakes, and you look down on Morecambe Bay.
Oh, brilliant.
So that's the nicest view in Lancaster, I'd say.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. Okay, enjoy your walk.
Yeah, enjoy your cycle.
Yeah, see you later. So as you might have guessed, I'm at the castle and the priory, which is a church, and the lady who I was just chatting to, who wasn't a local, from London she said, well, unless I climb the tower of the castle I'm not going to get a better view from where I'm standing, looking over kind of the town, lots of terraced houses in the distance, another church, another hill, and then, did she call it the mausoleum? The memorial, something like that, on the top of the opposite hill. Not sure whether the Way of the Roses passes that way. Anyway, the worst thing about setting off early in the morning is, of course, that you can't find a cafe that's open for your breakfast. But I'm hoping when I go back into the centre of Lancaster, or rather when I go into the centre, I've never been there before, I'll find a nice cafe and grab some breakfast. Just leaving Lancaster, and I'm delighted to say that I found myself a nice breakfast: sausage, egg and bacon butter. Unfortunately it was served by Lancaster's probably most miserable cafe waitress. Perhaps she's just having a bad day, who knows. Anyway, Lancaster was quite nice. I found the the front side of the castle, which was far more spectacular than the back side, and I then went into the city centre. I presume it's a city. Yes, it must be a city. And it's all very pretty. Nice market. Nice blue sky. Saturday morning. Very pleasant. But you can't help think that if that were in France or Germany or the Netherlands or some other what I consider to be developed countries, it would be stunning. It's nice, it's beautiful, but throw a bit of money at it and it could be out of this world, and it isn't. Anyway, I'm heading along, I think this is the River Lune. Is it? I can't see it on my map. Yeah, I think it's the River Lune. There's something called the Lune Viaduct, Aqueduct even, coming up. And then it's a case of heading down the valley in the direction of Yorkshire, which is presumably not that far off. I've escaped the relative urban sprawl of Morecambe and Lancaster, and wow, what a view. I'm standing, well, I think I'm in the Forest of Bowland now, looking down the Lune Valley, and it's astonishing. I wasn't expecting this at all. Beautiful, on a beautiful day as well. Just a long, low plain at the bottom of the valley, and then gently rising hills on each side. Looking to the, I think, to the east, I can see what presumably, I think that might be Whernside, Pen-y-Ghent, or perhaps even Ingleborough. Looks pretty high from here. But this is just remarkable, and the river down in the bottom of the valley is just glistening. Sheep all around on a deserted farm track. There's no traffic on here, and no one has passed me either walking or on their bike. Still on the route of the Way of the Roses, of course. But goodness, this is like France. This is like France. I was complaining about Lancaster not being as pristine as it perhaps could have been if it were on the continent, but this, yeah, goodness, this could be, I can't believe I'm saying this, I'm from Yorkshire for goodness sake, this is Lancashire, but this is stunning countryside. I think I'm about 35 kilometres in. That's not from the start, that's from the campsite this morning. So probably about 30 kilometres along the route. And I think, from memory, the measurement was 55 for this first day. So I reckon halfway there at least, probably a bit more. I'm still trundling through the Forest of Bowland. As you can hear, I'm now on a main road. Well, not main road, just the standard country road. Quite a few cars though. The Forest of Bowland isn't really a forest. Lots of trees, but it's not a thick forest as you'd find, say, in Bavaria. I'm just being passed by a group of cyclists. They're also doing the Way of the Roses, but I think they're doing it a bit quicker, in fewer days, so I think he said 2-3 days, and they're also using hotels, so they were travelling relatively light. They didn't have a tent and things with them, but each to their own, I suppose. So I've been through Gressingham, I've just been through Hornby, and the sign above me says Raywyth Botton. Raywyth Botton. And what's there? Rainbotton, not bottom, Rainbotton. It's got a nice little village, a pub, couple of shops, a tea shop, a little garden centre with somewhere to have a drink, although I just sailed on straight through. It was also decked in lots of bunting, as have lots of the places I've passed through in preparation for the Platinum Jubilee later this week. There was even a marquee up in Ray. It reminds me of being in France on the 14th of July with all the, well, in their case red, white and blue, although in Ray I suppose it should be red, white and blue here in Britain, but for them it was all multicoloured. Nothing against Queen Elizabeth, I'm sure she's a nice woman, but hey, I've got a strange belief, call me old fashioned, but I've got a strange belief in democracy. And some of her family, well, I did think about 10-15 minutes ago the weather had turned, but it's turned again. It's now a lot cloudier than it was earlier, certainly cloudier than it was first thing, but the sun is still poking out regularly, and it's it's not a cold day. The forecast was only for 13, 14, 15 degrees, but they always give the temperature in the shade, don't they? Never in the sun. Anyway, I've got my factor 50 on. I reckon I'm going to be in Horton in Ribblesdale pretty soon. Probably mid-afternoon, I would have thought. I'm going to have to take my time. There's a little detour just when you get near the Yorkshire-Lancashire border, which takes you to something called the Stone of Four Stones, from memory, something like that. And I'll take a little detour, just have a look at that. But in the immediate future, it's signposted Bentham 2.5 miles, Lowgill 3 miles. I've just found a sign. I was getting a little bit worried that I'd gone off the track, but there's a sign in front of me, first one for a few miles. And I'm going to head up this hill in the direction of Yorkshire. Can you hear those? I can hear at least 2, if not 3 distinct calls of birds. There's a cuckoo, that's fairly... oh, there's another one. I don't know what that is. And then there's something else behind me. And now there's a car. Brilliant. Over a cattle grid. But anyway, I've stopped at Bentham Toposcope. Is that right? Bentham Toposcope. A toposcope must be a thing, because in front of me, well, immediately in front of me, I've got a metal engraving showing me the panoramic view from Cumbria on the left to the Yorkshire Dales on the right. Now if I look up from this, I've actually got the real thing, but it's interesting because it's quite a wide panorama. It says the stunning panorama encompasses the 3 counties of Cumbria, Lancashire and North Yorkshire. You're looking north across Wennindale, with the settlements of High and Low Bentham nestling in the valley below. I think that's where my next destination is, I think. The renowned 3 peaks of Yorkshire can easily be picked out. They are Whernside, Ingleborough, and much further to your right, the unmistakable abrupt edge of Pen y Ghent. Now, Pen y Ghent is the... motorbike passing. Pen y Ghent is the hill, the mountain, the fell, whatever you want to call it, immediately to the left of where I'm staying tonight, in Horton in Ribblesdale. Because I've walked from that campsite up to the top of Pen y Ghent. Did it a few years ago. Right, continuing the legend underneath the panorama, their distinctive shapes can be attributed to a sequence of hard layers of millstone grit overlying more easily eroded softer rocks. On your extreme left to the west, beyond the area covered by the engraving, you may see the Furness Fells, and to the right of these, the distinctive Lake District peaks. Yeah, you can certainly see that in the distance. See the much bigger fells of the Lake District. Yep, tick. Behind you, now this is the reason why I've actually come here, behind you and to the left is the Big Stone, the Great Stone of Four Stones. Is that what I called it before? Something like that. It is 4 metres high and has a circumference of 27 metres. It is probably a glacial erratic, but legend has it that it is a small part of the debris hurled by the giant Finn McCool across the Irish Sea in a fit of anger. Now, I could wander over and climb up it. They've actually carved some steps into the side of the rock. Can't imagine English heritage would allow you to do that nowadays, but anyway, at some point they have done. And no, it's kind of, I don't want to leave the bike by the side of the road and clamber all the way up there over this boggy peatland. Plus, there's a sign telling me that there's loads of nesting ground birds, and by tramping over there, I could just be tramping on one of their nests. Well, that's my excuse.
So he knows what he's doing. So we had a mega day. We did a 50-odd mile, 3-tide day. Exhausted at the end of it. Oh, very happy, yeah. Well, it's hard to explain how beautiful it is.
It's 2:30 in the afternoon and I'm beginning to flag a bit. I paused at Clapham, had a pork pie and some fudge. That doesn't seem to have done the business. I'm still flagging, but fortunately there's well under 10 kilometres to go now. I've arrived in Houghton in Ribblesdale and been to this campsite before. I did the 3 Yorkshire Peaks a few years ago, on foot that is, and I stayed at, I think it's called Home Farm Campsite. Back then, I think I stayed 1-2 nights. It's a pretty simple affair, run by an old chap, but it's a great place, and you can't go wrong for, I think I paid £7 for the night, so what's not to like? And it's in a great setting right next to, I think that's Pen y Ghent up there. Yeah, I'm looking at Pen y Ghent, I'm pretty sure I am. Now, it's quite a busy site, and it's the Champions League football tonight, and I think the pub next door, the Golden Lion, I think it might get busy later. Basically, I'm giving myself an excuse to have an early beer. It is now, I don't know what time it is. It's about 5 o'clock, something like that. So I'm going to pop into the pub, have a pint or two, and then head back to the campsite and have my obligatory, almost, spaghetti and pesto. The chap at the campsite was telling me about the 2 pubs. The one down the road, they're all miserable and they don't like walkers or outdoor people, but the Red Lion next door, I'm sure he's got some special arrangement with them, they do like people, and that is my next stop. I just hope it's open.
Sorry. Cheers.
Thank you.
Sunday morning on a very different campsite compared to yesterday, certainly. Lots of people up early, like me. Lots of people have already gone, presumably to walk the 3 peaks. Campsite is now already half empty, despite it only being 7:30 in the morning. Weather-wise, looks reasonable. A lot cloudier than yesterday, and definitely a bit chillier. I noticed that north wind yesterday when I turned north to head up to Houghton in Ribblesdale. it was suddenly not very strong, but it was against me, and it was a bit colder. Now, I'm not sure what direction the wind's going to be coming in today, but please be behind me. I don't like cold wind. My fingers suffer. I said yesterday that it was a bit longer yesterday in terms of the riding than I'd imagined it to be. I think it ended up being just over 70 kilometres. I think today is going to be pretty similar to Ripon, basically crossing the Yorkshire Dales from west to east, and that's the plan. Steep climb after Settle. Might have to have a fortifying coffee in Settle, despite it, that could be a problem. Sunday morning, yeah, that might be the biggest issue. Might even be a bigger issue than climbing the hill after Settle. Yeah, okay, we'll see. Are you walking the Three Peaks?
Pennine Way.
Oh right, okay. I didn't realise we were on the Pennine Way here.
Yeah, not far at all.
Right, okay. So
Where are you heading to?
I'm just following the Way of the Roses
Oh, nice.
cycle route. So
yeah.
I saw you using a solar panel yesterday.
Yes.
Is it any good?
It's just about adequate.
Right, okay. Because
I wouldn't say good, but it's the first time I've used it on this trip.
Right.
And it has been worth bringing so far because I'm not stopping anywhere really with power.
Yeah.
Thus far, it has just about been good enough to keep I've got a little 10,000 milliamp battery pack.
Yeah.
Just about topped up enough to charge my phone. I think if the weather stayed good, it is actually quite good. When you get direct sun on it, I tried it before, plugged straight into my phone, and it charged my phone up in 3 or 4 hours from dead to full.
Oh right, okay. Well, that's pretty good.
So yeah, when it's in direct sun, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I just hoy it on the back of my pack, and I'm heading north, so most of the time it's
Right.
kind of facing the sun. And yeah, across the day it charges up my battery bank maybe about half,
Right.
which seems to be sort of a full phone charge.
I used one just under 10 years ago, and I was in the Mediterranean, and it was rubbish.
Yeah.
And I've just always been a bit sceptical ever since.
Yeah, I know they've.
I mean, the technology moves on. I know,
they've
but
improved a lot. And this is the first one I've.
what
I've
make
used.
is it?
So this is by Alpkit,
Right.
called the Flare. So it's a 10 watt.
And what does it claim to do?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because I mean,
But
their claims always seem a bit wildly
Yeah,
exaggerated.
it's theoretically max power output's 10 watts.
Right.
I think you'd have to really have it, exactly at the sun on midday kind of thing to get that.
On the equator.
Yeah, but I mean, it's even when there's a fair bit of cloud, it does still charge. I've no idea what output it produces, probably barely anything.
Yeah.
But I figure that alone is an improvement on. I had one years ago, and unless it was in full sunshine, it didn't do anything at all.
No, you've given me a little bit of hope.
And yeah, I mean,
That
this
they might
was
actually be better nowadays.
this was dead cheap. I think I got it on sale from Alpkit for 15 quid.
Oh right, okay.
And so I thought for that, and it's it's not much of a weight to it at all.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd give it a go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far I think it is worth it. It's not great, but
Yeah.
it's good enough to sort of serve its purpose.
Now back on the bike. It's I don't know, 8:15, something like that. And I've rejoined the route of the Way of the Roses. A few kilometres back to the junction where I left it yesterday, and now definitely back on it. A little climb, hence slightly out of breath. Right, much to my amazement and delight, I did find a cafe open, the Singing Kettle, in Settle, and I had a full English, albeit a small one, in preparation for this, which is the big hill out of Settle that I've now got to climb. You can probably tell that I've already started because I'm a little bit out of breath already, but basically the secret with big hills is slow down, sit down and use your gears. And ignore the strange looks of people in Mitsubishis and tractors. And I've reached the midway point between Settle and Ayrton, 3 miles from Settle, 3 miles to Ayrton, and basically, I hope, that's the point where the uphill becomes downhill. Now, I did mention before that the secrets to climbing steep hills was to slow down, sit down, use your gears. I think obviously I did miss one, which was of course get off and push. I'm sitting in exactly the same spot as, was it last year or the year before? I forget. One of the COVID years, when I was sitting here and I sketched the sign to my left. It's just a road sign with lots of bits and pieces on, including a sign for the Way of the Roses, which points me in the direction of Calton and Winterburn and Hetton, all 3 of which I'm now going to pass through, hopefully. Now, I'll be honest, my thoughts prior to setting off on this trip had really been focused upon the bit from Morecambe through the Lune Valley and into Yorkshire, and then the bit basically as far as Ayrton. The first half of that I'd never done before, and the second half, the bit in the Yorkshire Dales, I'd done, 2-3 times before, and this morning it's all been really familiar territory. But the bit from here, I think, is all new, although I think I might have cycled from here to Burnsall, but on this route I'm not sure. And then after that, after Burnsall, according to my Cicerone guide, it heads off Appletree Wick in the direction of Pateley Bridge, before finally, my destination for the day, ending up in Ripon. Yeah, that's right, Ripon. Now, according to the guide, I haven't even arrived at the bit where it recommends stopping after the first day. That's in Burnsall. So, yeah, hats off to the people who do all that in one day. There are loads of cyclists around. I suppose it's typical for a Sunday morning in spring in the Yorkshire Dales in Ayrton. There's a nice little cafe just down the road. I went there last time I was here. Part of a garden centre, I think. Oh no, it's just I can't remember. Anyway, it's a nice little place to go for something to eat. And by the number of cars, the cyclists are not the only people who are keen on visiting Ayrton this morning. Very, very busy. Let's hope that the road to Calton, Winterburn and Hetton, unsuitable to HGVs it says, which is a good sign, because it means that it might also be not suitable for many cars to go down there either. The last time I was in Burnsall, I wasn't actually in Burnsall. I was cycling around the Dales. In fact, I was with Rob Ainsley, the star of episode 49 of this podcast, and we saw it from afar coming down the valley. I think it's Wensleydale, the valley, but we never actually came into the centre of Burnsall, and it's a beautiful little spot. It's quite an iconic little spot because it's marked by this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arch stone bridge across the river. It's a beautiful setting. A couple of pubs, tea room, ice cream parlour. Well, I say a couple of pubs, I can only see one, but one's enough. And the setting by the river is just gorgeous. Now, the weather has turned a little bit. It started, I could see actually when I came over the top from Ayrton, from Malhamdale into Wensleydale, you could see looking down into the valley, the mist, and it did start to rain ever so slightly, so I quickly donned my waterproofs and descended into the bottom of the valley. But it's brightened up again. There were a few spots just a few minutes ago as I was sitting in the tea room having a very Yorkshire cranberry brie and bacon panini, and there's blue sky again still cloudy. God, I just hope it stays like this. It was decidedly chilly up on the tops, and I've still got higher to climb now. I'm about to head out of the valley to the highest point of the route, 404 metres, before descending to Pateley Bridge and then onwards to Fountains Abbey and my destination, which is going to be Ripon. And there's another 45 kilometres to go, which is still quite a stretch, and it's going to be 1 o'clock before I leave here, so I envisage I won't arrive in Ripon until, well, it's going to be late afternoon, if not early evening. Problem is, when you're in a place like Burnsall, you just want to hang around and have a lazy, well, I could quite easily spend a couple of hours here just sitting on the bank of the river and watching life go by. I would normally choose a less windy place to record something, but I've just passed the point where the Way of the Roses reaches 404 metres. I've just checked on my phone, and according to my phone I'm at 400 metres, and the road's been going up and down for quite a bit, so I would suspect it's probably over a distance that it reaches its highest point rather than one particular moment in time. Just past a village called Greenhow, which has various claims to fame, including one about Rudyard Kipling and another one about a quarry and Britain's largest public artwork, which alas I'm not going to go and see because it's a bit off the track, and I fancy making a bit of distance down to Pateley Bridge, which is all downhill. The B6265, as you can hear, is a relatively busy road, probably the busiest road since leaving Lancaster, I would imagine, or even Morecambe, because I really wasn't on roads in Lancaster. Lots of motorbikes, here they come, more of them. Right on cue. I do wonder if motorbike riders realise how disturbing their pastime is. At least on a bike we do it silently. Anyway, enough of my gripes. This really is Wuthering Heights territory without being actually Wuthering Heights territory, because that's clearly down my neck of the woods, Haworth, Hebden Bridge kind of area, but it looks that way, and it's definitely a different kind of Yorkshire Dales to what you find further in the west. It's millstone grit here, I think, as opposed to limestone, and it's a lot more isolated. The moors are like the moors I'm used to in West Yorkshire, which isn't really that far away. It's a wild landscape. Wouldn't fancy being up here in the middle of winter. It's nearly the end of the day now, and I'm trundling through Studley Royal, Fountains Abbey, as most people know it as, down the long, well, it's a bit like at Windsor, that long walk from the castle all the way down to, well, wherever it goes to, but this time you can actually drive in it. And I'm heading in the direction of, well, I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's called Jelly Legs. I think the chap who runs it is called Jelly, Mr. Jelly, Dave Jelly, I think it is. I think he's a runner. By the looks of it, he rents out his garden for tents, and I think he's got a little tree house there you can stay in. I think you might also be able to stay in a proper house. I may be the only one there. Who knows? But anyway, I'm going to be there within the next 10 minutes, I would have thought. It's a very different experience from days 1 and 2 in terms of the accommodation. But what I can see at the moment is, in the distance, I can see Ripon Cathedral, just above the gatehouse of the grounds of Studley Royal. It's quite a regal sight. Been a long day, but I'm glad that the main climbing was in the first half of the day. But even this afternoon there were a few kicks in the teeth when it came to long down hills and then back up a bit. But hey, this is Yorkshire, what do you expect? Right, okay, so accommodation night 3 awaits. I found a sign that says Jelly Legs with a bicycle hanging underneath it. It says parking Jelly Legs. Let's see. Is this it? There's a house next door. Jelly Legs cyclists. Please push your bike around the curved wall. Leave the bikes there if you are staying in the garden room. If you're staying in the Shepherd's Hut or tree house, push the bikes up the garden and head right for the tree house or left for the hut. Okay. Right, better grab the bike, which is still outside. No mention of camping. Perhaps he'll upgrade me. Beautiful little spot, very close to the entrance of Fountains Abbey and Studley Royal, but there's no pub. Perhaps there is. Shower for hut and treehouse guests is in the yard just past this notice at bottom stone steps, the door on your right. Garden room. The door to the garden room will be open. If I'm not here, make yourselves at home. The shower room is next to the garden room. Oh, I can see somebody. There is a man. Hiya! Hi, is it Dave?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, hi.
Right, in the right place.
Andrew.
It's up to you. You can push it up and then you've got your bag.
Yeah.
And have a good ride.
Yeah. I've come from where did I start? I've forgotten already. Oh yeah, Houghton in Ribblesdale.
Lovely.
So a good 70.
Good dot of up and down then.
Yeah. Oh well, certainly yeah. Especially out, up from Settle,
Dreadful.
which is that horrible climb.
Yeah.
Horrible.
But yeah.
Nasty.
Are you cyclists yourselves?
Oh, we have done,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a perfect location. This just next to. I was imagining having to go into the centre of Ripon or somewhere, but no, it's
But
beautiful.
Central Britain, it's only like a mile down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Come and
And your
I'll
tree
show you,
house,
I'll
wow.
show you around. If you
For its service before I head to the continent this summer. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing to drive, to cycle even.
Why did they do it though with belt drive? Is that is it specifically with that hub that you get belt drive?
No, you can have a chain with a roll-off hub.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, I'm never going to buy. Well, probably never going to buy another bike,
No.
touring bike. So I may as well have it all singing and dancing.
Yeah, but I mean, is there anything specific? Is it just quieter or?
It's quieter. I mean, obviously oil-free. You don't put any oil on. What you can, I do tend to put silicone lubricant on it because if it's very dry, it can squeak a little bit. But hopefully, touch wood, they're maintenance free. I mean, the thing that can go wrong with it, I mean, it could snap, and obviously if it snaps,
Oh right. So could you take are they heavy belts? Could you take a spare with you?
Yeah, I think if you head off into the middle of nowhere, you're wise to take a spare belt with you. But I mean, most of my cycling is in Britain and Europe, so I think if the worst comes to the worst, then they could at least send you one out. I think it's fair to say that one of the biggest concerns that people have about cycle touring is probably not the cycling, it's the accommodation, it's the camping, it's the not knowing where you're going to be at a particular time, on a particular day, and you might have to improvise and change your plans, do something different. Now, there are many ways of getting around that. My own personal favourite is booking.com, which I've used as a I was going to say last resort, but very often it hasn't quite been the last resort. But it is an option. Now, when I was planning this trip a few weeks ago, I looked at the camping options, and I did want to camp for 3 nights. There are plenty of campsites in the north of England, but there weren't many, if any, near Ripon, which is where I was planning to be at the end of the second night of cycling, the third night of camping. But then I noticed this website run by a chap called Dave Jolly. Jelly Legs was the website name, and I took a punt and I thought, well, camping what looked like his garden. There were options for camping, staying in a shepherd's hut or staying in a tree house, but I went for the camping option, and what a find it is. My God, this is just beautiful. Think of somebody's garden, perhaps somebody you know who has a nice garden, and pitching your tent there, and then kind of quadruple it in terms of how bucolic it can be. I'm in my tent. There's nobody around, nobody snoring, nobody revving their engine, no kids shouting. It's only 9:30 at night. I dare say in the first campsite over on the west coast near Morecambe, Bolton-in-Sands. Bolton Le Sands. There'll be kids screaming everywhere. Now that's fine. Don't mind that too much. Even last night there were people drinking, being happy. Again, fundamentally I don't have an issue with that, but nothing beats that. Can you hear it? I can hear birds, I can hear sheep. Admittedly, I can hear faintly in the distance a slight roar of traffic. I'm right on the edge of the Studley Royal Estate, and this is camping heaven. And the chap who runs the place is so friendly, so nice, so welcoming. Yet again, with the camping option, I've landed on my feet. So if you ever find yourself in Ripon, having just cycled through Fountains Abbey and Studley Royal, this is just perfect. That was a memorable night. Can't say I slept any better than I normally do in a tent, but wow, you can't fault it. Happy to pay my 15 quid, in fact 12 quid, but I gave him 15. He's seriously undercharging people by charging them 12 quid to camp in his garden. Wow. Memorable experience. Now, this is the final day of the trip. Various logistical things I've got to do today. I've got to get the bike to Tadcaster for its service, which in itself is not difficult, but it involves a few complications along the way. I've got to cycle 50 kilometres to York. That's the last stretch of the Way of the Roses that I'm going to be doing. I did initially think I would cycle down to Tadcaster, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump on the train to Church Fenton. There's no train station in Tadcaster, and then cycle the 6 kilometres from Church Fenton to Tadcaster, drop the bike off for its service. It's booked in for tomorrow, but I've got to get there before 5 o'clock because that's when the shop, Cycle Sense, closes. And then I've got to get back home with the panniers and the tent. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that. Could go back to the station. That would be the easiest in terms of getting all the way back to Halifax. But I'd have to get it's a 6 kilometre walk. Taxi? Manana, or rather not manana, whatever it is for this afternoon, I'll worry about that. But before any of that, I do have 2 friends who live in Ripon, Karen and John, and they saw one of my posts last night on social media, and they've invited me around for breakfast. So that's where I'm going now. It was good to see my friends. Haven't seen them for, quite a while. I'm now in front of Ripon Cathedral, and I've just remembered that a few years ago, it was actually back in 2014, I gave a talk in Ripon Cathedral. Now I hasten to add, it wasn't in front of hundreds, perhaps thousands of people. I'm sure you could fit that number in there. It was a much smaller gathering, organised by a local chap who wanted to mark the coming of the Tour de France to Yorkshire and also to Ripon. It passed through here, and it was a very nice talk. I seem to remember having lots of technical issues with the projector, but apart from that, it was a memorable evening. Right, so today, now, I haven't really thought too much about today's route. I think as I increasingly make my way along the Way of the Roses, I'm gaining greater and greater confidence in the signage. So far, apart from one junction yesterday, it's been faultless. Every single turn has been signposted, and I'm just hoping that continues all the way until York, which for me is going to be the end of the route, although it does continue all the way to the east coast at Bridlington. So today is going to be a tale of two cities, a tale of two cathedrals, albeit one being a minster, from Ripon Cathedral to York Minster. It's a twisty route. I've got a map in front of me. It's 50 kilometres. I dare say if you went on the A1 or if you went on the A roads, it'd be far quicker. But actually 50 kilometres on the cycle route. But I've got plenty of time. I reckon if I'm there by 2 o'clock this afternoon, that should give me plenty of time to get to Tadcaster to drop the bike off. It was, of course, inevitable that within seconds, well, certainly minutes of recording that, I lost my way in a very small way. But yeah, now recovered, back on the route. Just on the outskirts of Ripon, heading for open countryside. And in great contrast to the previous 2 days, I can't see a hill in sight. I've seen more Union Jack bunting on this trip than an average annual conference of UKIP. Not that I attend such events, of course, but I've just passed through Bishop Monkton, and so far it wins the prize for being the most bedecked town or village that I've so far passed through. I would say probably 1 in 4 houses, which is a pretty high ratio, has got some kind of bunting outside, Union Jacks. I wish I'd invested money in the sellers of red, white and blue bunting a while back. I think the market, however, is about to plummet. Oh, and there's a yellow bike. Perhaps the Tour de France went this way as well. And more bunting. Union Jack bunting, red, white and blue bunting. It's very distracting if you try to follow signs, because I'm looking at the bunting. I hope I'm still on course. I think I may have mentioned before that I'm using the Cicerone guide for this particular trip. It's called Cycling the Way of the Roses by somebody called Rachel Crawler, and I have used Cicerone guides quite a bit in the past, but I think this is the first time I've actually used one really quite a lot during the ride. And why did I wait so long to use them in to such a great extent? Because they're really well written, and I've just arrived in Boroughbridge, for example, and I'm sitting in the main square, St James Square I think it's called, and it says Boroughbridge has the air of a working market town and is pretty but functional. Yep, I do agree with you there. It is far more in the way of amenities than the surrounding villages, and a handful of refreshment and accommodation options. I might need refreshment because I forgot to fill my bottles this morning. Anyway, pass through St James Square where the ornate fountain will turn your head. Well, I've got to because I'm kind of sitting with my back to it. It's a pretty impressive thing. Blah blah blah, and then it mentions Aldborough. Now Aldborough is famous for its Roman connections, and there's a museum there by the sounds of it, which includes some pretty impressive Roman mosaics. So if it's open, what day of the week is it? Monday. But it's not a bank holiday because of the Jubilee. I wonder if it's open. If it is, I might pop in. But yeah, all credit to Rachel Croller and the people at Cicerone for writing this guidebook, and all the others, because they're cracking little things. The only complaint I would have, and Hannah at Cicerone, who I've had contact with in the past, if you're listening to this, then it would be really useful to have the maps in the guidebook oriented in the landscape direction, so you can stick them, well in my case, on the little I'm not sure what it's called, the little thing that I stick my maps on in front of the handlebars. But apart from that, can't fault them. Now on the final stretch into York, just come off the road. It's all been minor roads, well, with a few exceptions, one or two short stretches on more busy A road, very, very occasionally, not very often, but mainly on back roads, small country roads, and I've now come off those, and I think, although it's a pretty small river, surely that can't be it. Looks at map. Well, perhaps it is. The river, no, it can't be. The River Ouse is somewhere nearby, and I've just joined a cycle path that will presumably, just going over a little bridge, take me to the Ouse and lead me all the way into the centre of York, which should be a really nice way to finish the trip. Now the stretch between Ripon and York, yeah, it's been flat, which in itself can be a bit draining at times because you never stop cycling. You don't get the chances to freewheel down a hill. But that's a minor complaint. Pretty countryside, nothing really to complain about. The wind, the route itself has been turning back, forth, forward a bit, turn left, turn right, and inevitably I did check the wind and it's been coming from the southwest, but it's been a coldish wind, and occasionally when your path turns to face it you do feel the full force of it, but then again it's not that strong, so I'm making a mountain out of a very modest molehill. Pass by Benningborough Hall, National Trust Place, just to the north west of York. An impressive edifice stuck in the middle of countryside. Lots of big black cows that were having a right good old moo. Just past somebody with a bottle in their hand. I think he looked as though he'd had a rough night. Reminds me of being a student in York. Fair few rough nights then. But if it continues like this all the way to York, now the Ouse, I've just spotted it, it's on my right. Well then, just pausing for a jogger to pass by. But yeah, the Ouse is finally there. Well, it's been there all the time. I've been passing through numerous little villages which have been or had Ouse in their title, but this is the first time I've actually seen it, and it's not the tiddling little river I just crossed, it is the big major river that runs through the centre of York, or one of them. There are at least two, perhaps even three, Right, now I'm beginning to get hungry, so the plan when I arrive is to arrive in ceremonial grandeur, rock up in front of the Minster, take the photograph and then go and grab some lunch. So that's my Way of the Roses complete. I say my Way of the Roses because it's not the complete version. If you were to continue from York to Bridlington, you'd have completed the entire thing, but I'm stopping in York. But it's been a memorable 3-4 days. Set off on Friday morning, on the train to Morecambe, overnight in Morecambe, and then I set off heading east via Lancaster, Clapham, Settle, Burnsall, stopped overnight again in Ripon, and then today headed down to York. And yeah, thoroughly recommend it as a trip. Strenuous parts, yeah, but good views and a good cross section of the north of England. And other people, when they talk about it in comparison to the other cross country routes that you can do, they speak very highly of it, and I can understand why. I dare say if you went further north you'd get more remote areas, but in terms of a nice balance between getting out into the countryside, up onto the tops of the moors and the hills, but also having access to plenty of places to visit and eat in and stay in, then the Way of the Roses is probably a good option. So that's it for episode 50 of the Cycling Europe podcast. The next time you hear me, for episode 51, I'm hoping to do a podcast all about cycling in France and the routes I'm going to be taking in July and August of this year as I cycle around France on my Grand Tour. So more of that hopefully in a few weeks' time, and then hopefully some podcasts from the road, from the cycle path, as I head off around France, into Switzerland, up to Andermatt, the source of the Rhine, and then finally down, following the Rhine, all the way back to Rotterdam. So busy summer coming up, so stay tuned to the Cycling Europe podcast. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I shall see you soon. Thank you for listening to episode 50 of the Cycling Europe podcast. I'm now back at home and I've just spent quite a few hours editing and putting together the podcast that you just heard. And I'd just like to give a big thanks to Rob Ainsley. He does get mentioned a couple of times in the podcast itself, but I'm going to mention him again because he is the person who composed and played and recorded the music that you've just heard. Now, if you remember, when I was passing through a place called Greenhow, high up in the moors above Nidderdale and Wensleydale, or between the two, I chose not to visit a place called the Coltstones Cut, which is a piece of modern public art, supposedly the biggest in Britain, certainly the biggest in Yorkshire. When he went there, Rob Ainsley did visit, and as a result of that visit, he actually composed the music that you've heard in episode 50 of the Cycling Europe podcast, and he kindly allowed me to use it for the incidental music, which is much appreciated. So thank you, Rob. You are not only a very talented cyclist and writer, but a very talented composer as well. You can hear lots more of Rob's music if you visit his website, which is e2e.bike. If you'd like to support the Cycling Europe podcast, then you can do so by visiting cyclingeurope.org/support. And of course, I'm always interested in hearing from you. You can contact me at podcast@cyclingeurope.org, that's the email, or via social media at Cycling Europe. So until episode 51, stay safe and happy cycling.